I'm milling about with Romola Garai. Hi,
Hi, nice to meet you.
as well. Where are you calling? Where are you zooming from, I should say?
I'm zooming from sunny London.
Is it sunny today?
It is actually sunny today, as you can maybe see out the window.
Yes, 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 because we know it always rains and it's always gray in London.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it certainly was when I was making my film. I don't think we had one day where it didn't pour with rain. So yeah, it's very untypically kind of bright and cheerful day to be promoting Amulet.
Yeah, so tell me, Romola, what inspired you to do a horror film? Because looking through your CV, it wouldn't really be something that you would, gravitate towards.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I've always loved horror, and your work when you're an actor, the work that you do is to some extent a reflection of your taste, but like not entirely always. And had I had a project come up that I responded to in this genre, I absolutely would have loved to. When I started writing and directing, I made a short film that was not a genre film. It was very much a drama. And then I sort of had imagined, I think when I started writing in my kind of mid-20s, that I would work in that genre, in drama. And I also, did a couple of adaptations. And then I think after I made my short, it was round about the time that a few women started to move into the horror not that there haven't always been fantastic directors working in horror who are female, but in a more significant way. And then with the success of Jennifer Kent's film The Babadook, and then Raw, and Revenge, and we just saw a sort of mini explosion in films that dealt with themes that were to a sort of greater or lesser extent but connected with gender. And I was very inspired by that and I think it opened up the possibility of making a film in that genre. So I sort of started playing around with some ideas, and then of course it was much easier for me to meet producers who were interested in making films in that genre, because obviously first time filmmakers, people have to take a risk, and then that risk is somewhat diminished when you're working in genre. So that was the third thing that kind of pushed me over the line, was just a kind of a more, maybe perhaps more welcoming to a kind of first time filmmaker in that genre, in these genres.
Are you superstitious in any way?
I'm not superstitious, no, but I think I am afraid of things.
Mm.
I'm not somebody who kind of worries about curses or anything like that, but I feel fear very intensely. If I am in a dark corridor at night and a fire door shuts and I think I'm going to be trapped, I would be in a state of total sort of psychological collapse within about 2 minutes. I'm very I have the capacity to really panic, and I think when you're very in touch with fear, when you feel fear quite a lot as a person, I think you're very affected by these films. I know other people who if we're watching a horror film, would just laugh all the way through, but I'm very in touch with the feeling of being afraid. So I think that kind of leaves me very susceptible to the emotions that they provoke.
What would you say is the scariest thing that's ever happened to you personally that might have maybe subconsciously found its way into this film?
That's a good question. I think, well, obviously the things that happen to you in childhood always have a huge impact on you. I remember being lost when I was a child, properly lost once in a wood. And I just, I can remember that experience more clearly than I can remember entire years of my of my life, But I think maybe that was one of the most frightening things that has happened to me.
And how did you finally sort of find your way back?
Typically for me, I don't think I was even very lost. I just thought I was lost. I was probably that quite close to where I should have been, but I was in a wood, and I was playing, and I got sort of I lost track of time, and and really within minutes I was kind of in a state of like wanting to kind of run down the middle of a road. I could have been hit by a car. I was just in a state of like total panic. but I think that probably says more about me than actually how lost I actually was, probably.
I understand that you love to cook, and food makes a very huge appearance in Amulet. So talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I love cooking, but I think, you know, when you spend a lot of time, more time cooking when you become a mother, it sort of loses its appeal somewhat, because you're just producing meals, you know, all the time, like a, you know, in a sort of sense, like a kind of conveyor belt, you know. So maybe some of my fury about constantly having to produce meals all the time kind of bled into the script, because yeah, the food is always incredibly threatening and unpleasant, and you know, there's always the sort of suspicion that she might have poisoned it, or you know, so yeah, maybe that was what was going on.
I did have a hankering for stew, and I don't eat meat. So
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember when we were filming it, actually, that you know, there was that sense that it was actually, I mean, it was quite a cold day on set, and the house was always freezing, and you know, everyone in the crew was going, "Oh, that looks quite nice, Alec." And of course, the actor who has to eat, you know, 10 bowls of it was like, "Oh God, I don't want to eat any more, possibly, you know, rat infested stew."
speaking of rats, it wasn't a rat, but that thing in the toilet, I almost lost it. So talk about filming that scene.
Yeah, well, it was really challenging because, I mean, and I suppose this was a great thing that I learned. What was supposed to happen was that the creature was supposed to sort of appear around the U-bend and kind of climb up through the toilet, which is of course not what happens, because we couldn't get the puppet to do that. And because I, you know, wasn't prepared for it not to be the way that I had wanted it to be, you know, I was really frustrated and really disappointed. But actually what we shot, you know, and people on the set, like the actor and the DP were saying at the time, you know, like, this works, this is good. But I just felt very frustrated. And then, of course, it wasn't until we got to the edit and I saw it and I thought, no, actually, that's really disgusting. That's really disgusting. And yeah, and the creature, I loved the creature. I loved working with it. You know, I think I have a kind of, you know, when you grow up in the UK, you know, a lot of the time the house that you're living is just falling apart. You know, all of our Victorian kind of architecture is just in the last stages of life. You know, nothing works, the plumbing doesn't work, your house is always leaking, the roof is always falling down, you know. And so, you know, there is a sense always that these houses are kind of, yeah, just on the brink of revealing some disgusting creature at the bottom of a pipe or something like that.
Do you have this creature now? Did you take it home with you?
I don't know. No, it belongs to the man that made it. But I have the little goddess, the sort of the amulet. I have that on my desk, and she watches over me.
I was going to ask you if that was sort of a wrap gift, if everyone went home with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no one else was taking that. I was like, she's mine.
And I want to talk to you about the casting. I am not going to say his last name because I don't want to butcher it. So,
Caranio.
yes, we share the same birthday, which is quite fun.
When is Alec's birthday? Because I don't think he had his birthday when we were filming.
Yeah.
Or when is your birthday, I should say?
December 4th.
December 4th, yeah. So it was in the last week. Yeah, I do remember now. Yeah.
So he's like a newcomer. I don't think I've ever seen him before. So where did you find him?
So he was in a film that did incredibly well over here, and won a heap of awards, called God's Own Country. It was a British film made by a British director, but obviously Alec is Romanian, so he was playing a Romanian man in this film that's set in the UK, in Yorkshire. And you know, that was a huge winner. I think it won a BAFTA. It was very successful. So I'd seen that, and then when we came to start casting on the film, he was, I think, literally the first person that the casting director mentioned. and I knew straight away that he would be really good in the role, because I mean, the one thing that is, I think, more important than anything in the film really is that you absolutely trust and like him as a character, and you understand that he's a good man, and you don't have any kind of sense that he's a character that you want, you want him to be let off at the end, because it makes the audience sort of culpable in the in his own kind of moral laxity laxness. So I thought that, Alec is such a sympathetic, he has such a sympathetic face, he's such a kind and lovely man, it was really it was a very easy choice, and he was absolutely brilliant in the part.
Sometimes I like to make casting choices. I was wondering if you thought of Judi Dench at all, because I know you played a young Judi Dench in The Last of the Blonde Bombshells. So tell me if she was on your mind to play the older woman.
For what? For one of the other roles?
Yeah, the one that.
I'm not sure I'd want to have had anybody other than Imelda. I mean, she was amazing. I can't believe she said yes. I still can't believe she said yes. I mean, I thought I'd ask her, because I've worked with Imelda as well as an actor, and I thought, oh well, she, there's a chance she might do it as a favor to me, but I didn't really think she would, and she did, and she was incredible, and I was incredibly lucky that she did it.
And going back a little bit into the archives, I don't know if you've seen or read that Jennifer Grey is doing another Dirty Dancing movie. Have you?
I haven't read that. I'm very excited.
I wonder if you could recall like a favorite memory of making Dirty Dancing Havana Nights.
I mean, I didn't have the best I didn't have the best time on it.
That's so funny, because she complains a lot about Dirty Dancing, but go.
I mean, it was, do you know what? Somebody paid me to learn how to salsa dance. That was amazing. And all the different styles of dancing that we learned as well, actually. I mean, I'd, danced a little bit as a child. I'd had a few ballet lessons. I didn't have any training at all, really. And it was amazing. And we worked with, people who, had really kind of grown up with their, that it was their life's blood. And it's always the way, I think, when you work with people who are just kind of complete experts in their field, that you are, and when you're an actor and you feel like, this is my job, someone's paid me to come here and learn something amazing from somebody amazing. Like, what am I doing? This is an extraordinary, lucky thing to have happen to you.
So that was the hard part for you, was all the dancing, learning those steps.
That was the part I liked, actually. I mean, it was difficult, and I was pretty hopeless. I'm sure they had to do a lot of cutting around me, but I did love it. It was amazing to get to learn to dance like that.
And now you have a movie coming out. Hopefully, it will come out, called Last Call. And you worked.
Oh yes. Sorry, they changed it has a different, or it had a little different title when we were filming it. Yeah.
What's it called?
Well, it was called Dominion. So I didn't actually know, but I've remembered that they've changed the title. But that film, I think we shot 4 years ago, maybe. So 3 or 4 years ago. So yeah, it's been a while. I'm excited, really happy and pleased that it's coming out.
And you worked with crazy man Reese Fons, who I
yeah I worked with him. He was amazing in the role. It was incredibly interesting to learn so much about Dylan and Caitlin Thomas, who were fascinating people, and it was really interesting.
So tell us where we can see Amulet. What are the best ways to catch it?
It is having a theatrical release on the Friday. I probably should actually check what theatres it's in. Obviously, I'm over here in the UK. I'm not there. But it's also going out on Hulu as well. So it will be available to view there as well.
And what's the best part about being home for you during this time? Have you learned any new hobbies? Have you, what have you been doing?
Well, I mean, I've got young kids, so I mean, I've just spent most of the time learning what an unbelievably terrible mother I am. like everybody who's stuck at home with their children, going very deep into that. But you know, in all honesty, I think like most people, particularly people who are trying to kind of make work like art or anything, it's not been easy, you know, because on the one hand you have a lot of time, but you know, like everybody in the world, it's been a very mentally very challenging time, you know, stressful and upsetting. So that has made it difficult to make work in a way. You know, it's a release, you know, to go and try and write and everything, but sometimes you sit down and nothing comes, you know. It's challenging, like it is, you know, for everybody in the world. Yeah.
Well, Romola, congratulations on your directorial debut, Amulet, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It was lovely to meet you.
You as well. Stay safe.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Always news. Always refreshing. Always candid. Always milling about. Robin Milling delivers what celebrities are saying to you.